Hello, guys. Hope you're doing well. This is TJ, and you're listening to Beyond the Ring podcast. And welcome to my weekly series, Reliving the 80s Classics, where I cover Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling episodes on a weekly basis. And today we are going to cover the 21st November 1981 show. So I actually missed out on three weekly shows, and I'm not getting anywhere these episodes. And so obviously not available on WWE Network, and it's not covered by any of the guys, any of the websites. So I will be jumping on to the 21st November 1981, and but I do wanted to do the missing episode as well. So as I said in my past episodes as well, if I get the episodes, I will be really doing those shows as and when it would be available. I don't think so, but we would see how it goes. So this show actually was taped on 18th November 1981 at WRAL Studio in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's aired on 21st November 1981. So the show actually started off with Bob Caudle and David Crockett. They are on the commentary, and NWA matchmaker Sandy Scott comes about and he joins Caudle and Crockett. He mentions there are many problems going on, and right out of the bat, I am not into what's happening because I have missed 3 week shows, so I don't know what's it. But anyways, we actually are watching it anyway, and it mentions that there are many problems going on, they need to settle it. But the moment they are looking to bring more talent from other areas to the mid-atlantic championship wrestling territory, and he said that later on the show they will talk about incentive that would bring about these new talents and uh, new and vibrant talents onto the territory. And this was a good update by Sandy Scott, who is a NWA matchmaker. So we get to the first match, which was between Jay Youngblood and Ricky Harris. A good match, a good fun match. Jay Youngblood had a lot of fun, fast-paced maneuvers, his chops and flying around in the ring, and his grappling techniques was good. Drop kicks, side headlocks, control, and all that stuff was very good. And Jay Youngblood, Ricky Harris is a big guy, but Jay Youngblood actually most of the match he was controlling Ricky Harris to not to have that power advantage on him. And as soon as Ricky Harris was going for escapes it and goes to Jay Youngblood, Jay Youngblood actually knows that it's danger for him and it's time to escape. So that was a story around this match. It was a good fun match, not long match. It was a very good match. In the end, we saw Harris actually gets his fingers into Youngblood's eyes. So that's create an opening for Ricky Harris, and he chops and forearms Youngblood near the ropes. Harris actually whips Youngblood across the ropes and catches him with a high back drop. He slams Youngblood and gets only a 2 count and another whip into the ropes. But Youngblood chops Harris a few times, and Jay Youngblood hits the ropes and lands a double thrust chop onto Harris and gets the pin. So this was the match, and Jay Youngblood actually overcame the big Ricky Harris. So that was the story here. A good match. And we get to the next segment, which was Sergeant Slaughter and Jim Nelson join Bob Caudle for an interview. He mentions that there is some fat Indian challenging him. Roddy Piper and Ole Anderson says that they were cowards. Slaughter said he brought his own money but wants them to replay Wahoo McDaniel's interview, and McDaniel's interview is being shown, and he talks about how he's only had one match in the past 4 weeks on TV, and he's called by Slaughter, he's called by Roddy Piper, he's called by Ole Anderson, and actually Slaughter is actually isn't saying anything, and Slaughter isn't saying anything. He's not answering the challenge by laid out by him, as he says. And Slaughter then had a conference and brought out a contract and tells Wahoo McDaniel to come out and sign the contract, and he will wrestle him anytime, and he will put that US title because Sergeant Slaughter is the US champion. And he dismisses Jim Nelson as his trainer. He's his student. So Sergeant Slaughter heads over to the ring for his match. As he says, I will show you why I'm the most better superstar in this area. So Sergeant Slaughter versus Ken Hall. Again, a squash match was coming. So Sergeant Slaughter's matches for some months right now, 2 to 3 months right now, is going as a squash match. I don't know why there's no kind of a kind of a challenge match for him. The matches that he faced, it's kind of an inferior opponent that year. So there's a guy called Ken Hall he's facing. So it was a total squash. He hip toss and he's hits a double gut buster onto his stomach and knocks him and armbar submission from Slaughter. And finally, Slaughter elbows Ken Hall's left arm, and then he tosses him shoulder first into the corner and gets that Cobra clutch, and he passed out. Ken Hall passed out, and Sergeant Slaughter took up the victory and yells out Wahoo McDaniel, Wahoo McDaniel, Wahoo Wahoo, and Wahoo. He's demanding Wahoo as he gets a submission victory over Hall. So we get this match, the match, and we squash match, and we get to the a promo for February 7th, 1982 show, kind of an advertisement where Ivan Koloff is talking about TV title versus Cadillac match against Jimmy Valiant. Koloff says he's enjoyed beating up on Valiant. He says it being a no disqualification match, he will be able to beat on Valiant all. So this is territory days, so their superstars also does other shows as well. So kind of an advertisement for them as well. So he says it being a no disqualification match, he will be able to beat Valiant all night long. But once he wins, he will be watching Ric Flair beating Blackjack Mulligan Jr. And said this was the segment, this was the advertisement, and we get to the another segment, the show segment, which Sandy Scott comes about, and it's a long segment and it was entertaining as well, laying out this show was all about the interviews and promos and not about much about wrestling, but it did hold about and it was very good. And Sandy Scott mentions again that they have been scouting the top talent all over the world. He says that top talent make a lot of money, much like other sports in the territory. Scott actually asks Cordell, what do people want? And Cordell says it has to be money or something that money buys. And Sandy Scott say they are purchasing a 1982 Cadillac that is worth $17,000 to $20,000 and putting it up on as a bounty in a tournament and battle royal or in the type of match. He didn't clear that. One of the names that they are bringing it is in Tommy Rich, and they show the entire footage, entire match of Tommy Rich, and he was good. I'm new to this guy. I'm new to this whole 1980s era. So Tommy Rich, this guy is a very good wrestler, and he is a good grappler as well, good powerhouse, power based wrestler as well. So they show a video featuring Tommy Rich, and Bob Caudle and Sandy Scott start talking as the match is airing. And after the whole footage is over. Roddy Piper, Slaughter, Sergeant Slaughter, and Ole Anderson comes about, and they actually says that they also want the opportunity, and they are the number one in the tournament. If you see, Sergeant Slaughter is the U.S. champion. Roddy Piper is the Mid-Atlantic champion, and Ole Anderson is the one half of the tag team champion again, with Gene Anderson. So and there's another guy who actually also is claiming it as number one, and they actually show us another fellow called Angelo Mosca, and Sergeant Slaughter asks Sandy Slaughter if the guy Mosca is wrestling on the video, if he's the number one too, because he and Roddy Piper says as well. Sergeant Slaughter actually says that if he's wrestling the opponent that he's meant to, because it's way below his twice his weight. He's wrestling is beating a smaller wrestler, and very good exchange by both these three heels, and they are really strong and they're really entertaining to listen about. And this was an entertaining part of the show, the whole thing. Roddy Piper, Sergeant Slaughter, and Ole Anderson, and Jay Youngblood, Rick Steamboat, Rick would join Joe Bob Cordon for interview, and Youngblood grabs the open contract that Sergeant Slaughter left and challenges him actually to a US title match, and his challenge is accepted. Sergeant Slaughter's is a new challenge. Jay Youngblood would be a good match if they make about. And Ricky Steamboat is focusing on Roddy Piper's Mid-Atlantic title. He challenges Piper to a title match, and Roberts wants Steamboat to get a shot at Piper, and also calls out Ole Anderson as well. So I don't know what would be Roberts would be doing, because he's just left out now. So don't know. Maybe post this, maybe a heel turn or something. That would be very shocker or entertaining to see. let's see. Just a thought about that. And we get to the another squash, handsome Jimmy Valiant versus Dick Rivers. Just a squash, and he gets off a few punches, and he finally he goes an elbow drop and gets a pin. Nothing to say here, but then we got to see Roddy Piper joining Bob Caudle, another segment, and this was also very entertaining. And say he says that he's about getting upset about people calling him a coward, and he upset that everyone wants him to wrestle Ricky Steamboat. He mentions that he has a tape that he wants to show us, and he shows a match between Steamboat and a masked wrestler, where actually Piper he was wrestling as ref was distracted by. I think it was distracted by Ole Anderson, and Piper actually comes about in suit, and he elbow drops, and he actually covers him. And this masked man, who is actually expected to compete with Ricky Steamboat, he's actually pinning him, and he shows that how he actually pinned him, which is not a match. And Piper says he will wrestle Steamboat in a tag match, but won't wrestle him in title match because he hasn't impressed him. And Steamboat enters the ring and goes searching for Roddy Piper as he's not there. And we get to the another promo build up for the February 7th, 1982 Round show from the Round show with Jay Blood and the Crippler Ray Stevens. They have a tag match scheduled for the show against Choisin and the Ninja. Just a recap for the advertisement that they show. And Stevens says that he can't pronounce the name correctly. It sounds like a Chinese soup. And Jay is more politically correct and does know who Choi Sun is. Jimmy Valiant comes about and talks about his match against Ivan Koloff. So he is actually challenging for the TV title from Ivan Koloff. Blackjack Mulligan Jr. Actually is Barry Windham talks about his NWA World Title match against Ric Flair. So faces actually. So we had a heels promo, and then we had a face advertisement. Good advertisement there, and a good promo segment, you can say, more than an advertisement, just a kind of a build up. And we get to the main event. We got to we got a main event, which was between, and this is a match we have seen, but this was overlong match, I would say. So it's a very fun match, a good story, but this was slightly longer because they had time, so they actually had this match. So I'm glad they actually got four of them got to work at that time. So Jake the Snake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat versus the Grappler and the Super Destroyer. And this had we knew that these actually four works out very well, and past matches we saw in Mid Atlantic episodes, they've been great, and they actually did deliver it, and they all worked very well. Had a lot of time. Jake Snake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat had that fast-paced action with Grappler and Super Destroyer, were actually kind of being difficult to handle these fast-paced superstars, fast-paced wrestlers, taking out the legs by Ricky and Jake Roberts, having the elbow drop, leg drop on the legs, just like they had a match Ricky Steamboat had with Jake the Snake Robert had with his partner Leroy Brown. So same kind of a strategy that they actually did with Grappler and Super Destroyer. So most of the matches were was being dominated by Grappler and by the Jake the Snake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat, and we saw slams, knees, chops, headlocks, and keeping him on the mat. And we finally saw Grappler escaping at Robert in a wrist lock, but Roberts reverses quickly attacks in Steamboat, and Steamboat with a snap bear on the Grappler and gets him back into a headlock. Super Destroyer tries to interfere, but the ref stops him, and the Grappler gets Steamboat onto the ropes and gets in a forearm. And in the end, we saw, as I said, Super Destroyer and Grappler actually had their offense on Jake the Snake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat, as they were actually took about by a rake in the eye, and that caught and. That caught the fast guys and kind of slowing down the match. So this was a time where the destroyers actually got the opportunity to work on Jake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat, and Super Destroyer storms on Roberts and lands a knee drop on him. Crowd stands chanting for the babyface Roberts. Super D and the Grappler continues to beat on Roberts. Grappler punches Roberts' face. Roberts with a leg sweep, but the Grappler keeps him tagging out and tags Super Destroyer. So quick tagging by them, not getting the tag on Ricky Steamboat, and Robert gets slammed into the corner and left there in a trio of woe position as Super Destroyer kicks at Roberts, and in the end we saw Roberts get caught in another bear hug position. So the major selling by Jake the Snake Roberts. Roddy Piper and All Anderson show up ringside just to watch these faces getting squashed by destroyers, and Grappler continues to beat on Roberts. Grappler whips Roberts into the ropes, but it gets reversed. Robert catches the Grappler with the DDT, his patented DDT that would become his finisher, and this was not his finisher at that time, and tags in Steamboat finally, and Steamboat chops both Super Destroyer, and that was a very hot tag, and Jake the Snake Robert didn't have the tag on Ricky Steamboat. So that was a very fun tag and a hot tag, and that actually created very fun moment to see, and it was very hot at that time to a very fast paced match was going on. Robert catches the grappler with a DDT and tags in Steamboat chops both Super Destroyer and the grappler. All four men are in the ring, and it's chaos. Super Steamboat goes for the pin on the grappler, and Piper pulls the grappler out of the ring. And Piper, they actually didn't get the victory as Piper pulls out Steamboat. Piper actually pulls the grappler out of the ring, so kind of interference there. So Sonny Fargo, the referee, disqualifies, and Jake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat wins via DQ. And Piper and Steamboat then start to brawl. So very good. A rivalry continuation by both of them, and man, this match would be a show stealing match, and I don't know when this match is gonna be. It's next week or so, I don't know, but I have one thing to you is that all the shows from December is all available on WWE Network, so we are not missing any shows, any weekly shows from I mean 2 to 3 weeks, I can say it certainly. So I'm glad about that, because November month and October month we are actually don't haven't actually had many episodes that we actually got in WWE Network. So finally, I am actually glad to say that. So this is a weekly review. So I'm glad you actually listened this and you actually enjoyed. So Piper actually they had a brawl, and finally Ole Anderson actually pulls Piper, and they had a scuffle, and he demands a title match. As the ending, we actually always see Piper. They had a post match promo, and he said Piper tried to do, did not work. He demands a title match against Piper once again as the show ends. And this was the show. A good promo, good build up for the matches to come, and a good overall episode. The wrestling was not bad as well. It was good as well. The opening match, two squash matches, and that was not bad as well. It was short, pretty short, and the main event was very good main event that held upon. And Ricky Steamboat, and especially Roddy Piper's involvement. This was the episode of Roddy Piper, and it was very good. And I haven't seen a single episode of Ric Flair in this Mid Atlantic Championship, because every time he's in the show or something, I actually read about an October show he had on that show, but I actually didn't get that show, so that's why. So don't know how when I'll be seeing him in this show. So again, this was a really good show, and had a good fast paced action, good pace to the show, and a very really good interviews, and Piper and Steamboat continuing their feud. Just a very fun show, and that moved very quickly, and very good show, and I highly recommend this if you want to watch it. You could watch this on WWE Network, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed this, and see you in my AEW Dynamite review shortly. And please make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.